Greetings, respected viewers. I'm George from Ireland. Here I am in Kingston-upon-Thames, United Kingdom. So, to my rear, you can see the house where Eadweard Muybridge was born in the year of grace, some 1830. His surname was actually originally Muggeridge, but he changed it in later life. And his Christian name was spelt Eadward, the conventional spelling, but he later changed it to what he thought was the Anglo-Saxon orthography of Eadweard, looking a bit more like Eadweard. I know that's not the spelling of weird, but he was Eadweard in the other sense as well. Oddweard, perhaps, would be more apposite. Anyhow, his father was a fairly well-off coal and grain merchant, because we are hard by the river, hence the upon Thames, which is appended to the name of this town. Just the other side of that house, well, about 100 metres that away, is Old Father Thames liquid history, which wends its silvery way along towards the North Sea. Anyhow, so he didn't want to go into matters mercantile, but he was fascinated with anything that was novel, with technology. Remember, he was born only 5 years after the choo-choo train, and the train didn't come to this town until the 1840s. So he felt he was destined for great things. It was a lad of vaulting ambition, although not terribly academic. Anyway, so at the age of 20, he declared his ambition to achieve greatness, and he said if not, he would achieve absolute obscurity and the family should never hear from him again. So there he took ship to the land of opportunities, and he landed in the United States at New York, and he traveled all around the United States. He worked in New Orleans for a while, he moved to California. This was about the time of the Klondikers and this California gold rush. California had only just become a state of the United States when he went there, and he lived in San Francisco, which was the very edge of the United States. Many Americans thought the edge of the civilized world back then had been the California Republic to just before this time. So, and he was fascinated by photography. Of course, he'd been an adolescent when photography was invented by the Daguerre brothers in France. So he set himself up as a photographer, and he traveled to Yosemite. In that national park, some of the first photographs of that were taken by Eadweard Muybridge, as he was calling himself. Muybridge spelled M-U-Y-B-R-D-I-G-E. So he was also fascinated with the Anglo-Saxons because, of course, this town of Kingston-upon-Thames was very important in Anglo-Saxon history, and only 100 yards from where he was born, that's where the town hall has the coronation stone upon which Anglo-Saxon kings were supposedly crowned. Now, there is some scholarly dispute as to whether that actually happened, and there's the church not far away, like not even half a mile away, where they were supposedly crowned. And again, it's not universally accepted that that's true. So this town wasn't called Kingstown at random. It actually had a very close and personal relationship with the Anglo-Saxon kings, or to be more accurate, the kings of Wessex, the West Saxons, that's southwest England. I know Kingston's not terribly far west within England, but anyway, Kingdom of Wessex extended up to here. Yeah, he was in Texas on one occasion when he was involved in an accident upon a stagecoach, and he sustained a serious heavy blow to the head, which seems to have affected his personality profoundly. So the head injury seemed to be a strong disinhibitor, and he became odder than ever before, and just gave free rein to his bizarre personality. It was about that time, I think, when he changed his name. That coronation stone I mentioned is just here. I'm about to show it to you, outside the old Kingston Town Hall. That's the old Claton Bridge, as from the noise it would make when the horses cantered over it. Well, that's the Hogs Mill River there. And here it is, the coronation stone, and Addleston and Edmund, and the names of various Anglo-Saxon kings are there. It's a bit like the Stone of Destiny at Scone in Scotland. Well, that's where it was originally. Those kings were crowned on. That Stone of Scone in Scotland is supposedly the stone that Jacob uses as pillow in that biblical tale of Jacob's ladder, seeing the angels ascending and descending to heaven. I'm not sure what the tale is behind this coronation stone. So there we go. It's just outside this 1930s Kingston-upon-Thames town hall. There you go. And there is yon bridge behind. So back to Eadweard Muybridge. Anyway, it was a matter of some debate whether there was a point during a horse's locomotion when all four hoofs were off the ground, because artists often depicted this quadruped as having all four of its hooves in the air at one time. And so because no one had taken photographs to prove this one way or the other, was that true? So he used a tripwire to take many photos in very rapid succession. What did he call it? Zooprax photography or something like that. And he proved that actually it is true that with horses and most quadrupeds there is a split second for which all four hoofs or feet are off the ground. Likewise with canines, so it's not just with equines and such like. So you could honestly show your steed like that. So he was almost the father of film. He never quite got a fully moving image, and he photographed buffaloes, all sorts of beasts, as well as our own Homo sapiens species walking and showing what their locomotion was like. So he moved back here in later life. He lived with his cousins. He wed, I'm not sure if he had any, yes, he had one child at least. He wed a lady who was 21 when he was 41, but she took a paramour. Now, he took umbrage of this and he slew him. But that crime passionnel was judged to be justifiable homicide, and he was acquitted by the jury. So he came out and lived out his days here in 1904. He'd travelled all over the United Kingdom and the United States lecturing. He was actually a rather well-known figure, and he died, and he's interred at Woking, Berkshire, which is a bit to the west of here. I'm not sure if it's a Brookwood cemetery or not. So that is Eadweard Muybridge. Toodaloo.